Welcome to today's episode of Real Estate Talk with Flinks Realty. Today we have something very interesting to talk about. We're going to talk about real estate investments. So we'll be looking at why are properties in Lagos more expensive than houses in Dubai, UK, or at least comparable prices, and what is going on in the market, what type of investments are good, and what is going on around real estate investment, especially in Lagos. A lot of people have been complaining about it. Some people are saying it's inflated, some are saying it's crazy. Let's have that discussion. Let's know what is real and what is not. And today, I'm going to be joined by two amazing guests. On my right, I have Mr. Ife Oluwa. He's the CEO of Stellywell Homes. He has helped people invest billions of naira in the real estate market. And today, he's going to be sharing his opinion on some of these topics. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And on my left, I have Mr. Teslim. He's an investment banker, has years of experience in finance. He understands the finance market. He's here to give us a balance on what is real, what is not, what he thinks about what is going currently in the real estate market. You're very much welcome, sir. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome.
So, let's start with the big question first. Why are some houses in Lagos, I don't want to call it, but let me call Lekki, Ikoyi, all those areas, why are they almost as expensive as houses sometimes in London, Dubai? And people think it's not fair, it's not supposed to be so. Why do you think that's happening? Let me start with Mr. Ife.
All right. Okay. First, thank you very much for this opportunity to be able to shed more light on this real estate investment thing. And back to the question. So basically, we are trying to do a comparison here, and we're saying we are putting highlights on Lekki that we have properties that are very expensive in that part of Lagos. So, first, I would say there's a very huge demand for properties, starting from lands to landed property in that part of this part of Lagos, that Lekki. And the reason for that is mostly because there are a lot of amazing infrastructures that are already in place there. Okay. I mean, when it comes to the standard of living, you really want to actually be somewhere where you have the security, you have a lot of things already confirmed. Okay. Unlike other places in Lagos that you can't really get so much guarantee when it comes to things like that. Yeah. And that is why. And again, you have the cost of servicing the land mostly. So basically, lands there are very expensive because the lands there are not really dry land. Most are being sand filled. There are a lot of reclamation, dredging. So basically, at the end of the day, when all those things wetland are being turned into dry land, they turn out to be very expensive to actually acquire. Yeah. And I mean, that is one.
So you're saying mostly because there's high demand, great facility, because some estates there you get 24 hours electricity. It's not what you see everywhere in Nigeria. Then also the costs of getting the land. Yeah. So the dredging and someone's mentioned one time that most of it used to be water. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely it was. I mean, some places even are still waterlogged. I mean, if you have to buy land, some places in Lekki, you have to actually, if you're building, your foundation has to go deep. That's where you implement the piling foundation, and your depth has to be very, very deep, because regardless of the sand filling, you're still building on a very dry land, on wetland rather. Okay. So you have to put a solid foundation. So even the cost of building there is already very expensive. By the time you start your foundation, you spend so much more than you put on the land, and that's the thing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Why do you think houses there are very expensive? What's your opinion on that?
Okay, in my opinion, first of all, you would agree with me when I say Lagos is the commercial hub in Nigeria. Yeah. And the statistic has it that Lagos is the third or fourth largest economy in West Africa. Okay. Now, but aside this, you would agree with me when I say sometimes the value of something is based on perception. Yeah. Perception in the sense that he called it demand. I like to call it perception, right? Lekki, let's highlight Lekki for instance. There has been so much demand on lands in Lekki now. Why? One, I think majority of it is based on bandwagon. What does bandwagon mean? A lot of people are buying land in Lekki. Let me buy it too. Okay. And that's what is going to facilitate demand. Yeah. Right? And you would agree when I say supply of landed property is limited. The number of land will not increase.
True. Yeah.
You get. However, the number of
people you reclaim water.
Exactly. However, the number of people who want to buy the land will definitely increase.
Yeah.
So it's practically a game of demand and supply in place here. Aside that, one more thing. aside bandwagon, I would say, you see, commercial activities in Lagos, to be precise, if you observe, the whole of Ikoyi down to Victoria Island is kind of, choked up and filled up already.
Yes.
You can't want to start or build a company now and think you get a land just like that in Ikoyi, Victoria Island. So people are tilting towards Lekki now.
Okay.
So Lekki is gradually also becoming a commercial hub.
Okay.
Do you understand? So hence, it's only normal for, prices to hike and all
So
that.
you think these current prices are justified? Because you mentioned economy, and Dubai is also a very big economy, and when you compare price, I saw one apartment in Burj Khalifa for $1.5 million. I'm very sure this Burj Khalifa. I'm very sure you would see 1.5 million too in Lekki, Ikoyi. So is that comparison fair? We're talking Burj Khalifa and
that was why I said
Ikoyi.
I used the word. I said perception.
Okay.
It's about how you perceive it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
To some people, it's fair. To some people, it's not. I wouldn't say it's fair or not. But what I would tell you is that those prices in Lekki are actually very justified. Although there's a sort of premium you pay for lands on Lekki. Do you understand? What does it mean? It means this is the actual value of a land in Lekki. There's something that will be on it. You're not going to pay the actual price. I don't know, one way or the other, there's going to be sort of premium. Do you understand? So that's why, the prices are like that.
So what do you think about that comparison between Burj Khalifa and apartments in Lagos?
So when you look at that comparison, first, I can't really say for sure. So in case anyone's going to argue, because I don't operate in the Dubai real estate, but from what I've seen so far, in my own opinion, you can't compare the ROI. Dubai is a very major tourist place.
Yes.
So basically, if you're buying a property there and it's as expensive as that, you're going to get your ROI very, very, consistently. In the sense that if you are being promised this, you understand that there's already a pulling factor for this ROI. People coming and out every year, and they get most of their, the economy. What actually help the economy is the tourism.
Yeah.
So, but when you look at Lagos, Lekki, for example, apart from the housing deficit we are trying to solve or whatever, because these houses are even already expensive for some people to even afford, it's more of people are looking for places where they can get the most ROI on their property, on their money rather. So basically, they can't consider any other place in Lagos, because every other place in Lagos is not really, there's no pulling factor because of, like you said, the commercial factor is not there.
Yeah.
Most people working, you look at the big names, big companies in every industry, every sector, they have their, even if it's something, a field work, they have their headquarters in Lekki.
Yes.
A lot. They have their headquarters in Ikoyi, Lekki. So basically, people working there want to live around there. They want to live close to the place, and they want to build more facilities for people to work, and there's demand for all that. So there's much increase, and these people having their companies around this area, they tend to affect the infrastructure there.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So I want to ask, who are these people buying these properties? Because people are always asking, see money, people are, because very soon now you see one property, $500,000, $800,000, between 3 months, sold. Who are these people? You've probably met some of them. Who are these people? Are they politicians? Are they people from abroad? Or are they white people coming to buy this? Or are people who from different countries coming to buy it? Or is it some people like us?
So there's a trend now. We have people that live in the country, Japan. So basically, most people are even not buying as compared to what you see.
Yeah.
We see a lot of sold, but it's not even up to 30% of what is in market. The inventory in the market is still, there are a lot of properties that are yet to be sold. But the reason why people keep building is because it's just still safe enough to pump money or put money in real estate.
Okay.
But a lot of people cannot afford to buy. So majorly, people want to buy, but they can't really afford most of these expensive properties.
Yeah.
So the people buying most of these expensive properties are people that have, worked so hard for their money, and they have so much more. Whichever way they have made their money, they can afford to actually spend that, and they feel the need for it. And most people buying are buying for the need. I don't think most people buying are really buying for ROI.
For investment.
Majority of people buying now are not really buying for investment. They are buying to live in. You get, because people buying for investment now, if they are very savvy, they are really weighing a lot of options. And there's a change unlike 2020 when a lot of people would have to buy real estate. Okay. But it's different now. People are actually taking their time because of factors of the incoming, or upcoming election rather, and other things.
Yeah. So you're saying most of the people are buying to live in it?
Yeah, they're buying to live in, and those are the kind of properties they like. Luxury, the kind of properties that are very much expensive.
Oh, okay.
We have the set of people that can afford this. I mean, we understand that we have mostly the middle class, but we still have these high income earners, the HNIs that want to live in this property. So they are basically the clients. They are the go-to people. If I'm going to advertise now, I'll look for them.
Yeah. Okay. There's one question that has bothered me for a while. I think you'll be the one to first answer it, because I've been in real estate for over 5 years, and I'm watching the markets, talk to experienced people. Nigerian real estate doesn't crash. Like
Doesn't crash.
the US market crashes. Like currently now they are going through a market crash. It's not really a crash now, it's just now the prices are down.
Yeah.
So like last year, houses that like $1 million, you can get it for 800, depending on the area. So the market, after a while, it comes down. Like 2008 was a major crash. Why do you think in Nigeria we don't experience that? It's always up for years. Most properties keep going up. Why do you think that happens in Nigerian markets?
I like that question. Okay. To be honest, this question, there's just one answer to it, just one word. Credit.
Credit. Okay.
Now let me break it down.
Yeah.
Nigerian economy is a cash-driven economy. It's more of a cash-driven economy, let me put it that way, than other advanced economies. Look at the US, look at the UK, for instance. Those economies are credit-driven.
Okay.
I mean, I have my real estate guy here. You would agree with me when I say if you want to buy a landed property or a house in Nigeria currently, most people pay lump sum or they pay a certain amount and spread the balance. Right?
Definitely.
Irrespective, it's still what? Cash-based.
Yeah.
Do you get? We have a mortgage system in Nigeria, but how many people make use of it?
Oh, well.
Oh,
Do you understand? Let's put that one aside. Abroad, as a matter of fact, a large chunk of house owners acquire their homes through mortgage. Now, what does mortgage mean? You like this house, you buy it. The payment plan is tied to your source of livelihood. What does it mean? Your job.
Yeah.
So that means as soon as you get your paycheck, a certain amount is going towards your mortgage.
Yeah.
Now, pay attention. If you observe, this is it's already an economic activity.
Okay.
Something we don't have in Nigeria. Look at this spree of layoffs we're having now in companies abroad. Amazon is laying off some thousands.
Yeah.
Google is laying off some thousands. Even Goldman Sachs
Goldman Sachs
is laying off a couple of people.
I thought they
In
were
fact,
going to do
that one even caught my attention because Goldman Sachs is an investment bank and I'm an investment bank. I had to check it out. That what happened to investment banking? Apparently, it's not the investment bankers that are laying off. But let's put that aside. So the point is, look at the man who has gotten the mortgage.
Okay.
Right? Tied to his salary. When he gets his paycheck, something goes to the mortgage you get. And it gets laid off all of a sudden. What happens?
You can't pay.
It becomes a bad debt. The mortgage can no longer be paid. How many thousands of people do you think are going to be affected by this thing I just mentioned? Considering the number of layoffs we have currently.
A lot of people there. A lot.
Now, do you see what I'm saying? Those mortgages become bad debts.
Yeah.
You get. Now the banks try as much as possible to try to get back their money one way or the other. Do you understand? So it's better to get lower than you expected than not get at all.
At all. So they will
So what
drop
does it
the
mean?
prices.
They'll drop the prices.
Okay. So they can now sell.
Exactly.
Oh,
And
okay.
there are some establishments we have in Nigeria. No, we have abroad rather. Real estate is actually more infused into finance in advanced economies, unlike Nigeria. In Nigeria, real estate is real estate, the finance industry is finance industry, which is still a problem we think we need to solve here in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Let me give you an instance. There's something we call a REIT, R-E-I-T, Real Estate Investment Trust.
Okay.
A REIT is practically a company who owns a lot of income-generating real estate properties. Do you understand? Now, what does it mean? Let me explain it to you. I'm a company, I own this, what's it called now? I see this property I want to get. I know it's going to be income generating. Instead of me looking for money to develop it, I just call on people who are going to invest in that property.
Okay.
And I buy it. Then the income that is generating is what's going to the investors.
Okay. So you just get a group of people invest, they pay
So,
them.
do you understand? Then there's also something we call asset-backed securities. Now, a type of asset-backed security abroad is what we call mortgage-backed securities.
Okay.
What does it mean? A mortgage-backed security, we call it MBS. An MBS arrangement is just trying to make the bank an intermediary between those guys who are actually borrowing money for the mortgage and some people who actually have money to invest in that mortgage.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you understand? So what does it mean? Bank will give you loan, you collect mortgage, all those mortgage contracts you get. The bank is not going to sell it as bonds. With the mortgage, the house itself as a security to some guys who are willing to invest in that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Look at all these beautiful structures I just mentioned. How many of it have you heard of in Nigeria?
I've seen REITs, but I only saw it.
All these things are actually tied to economic activities. So the
Yeah.
moment there is maybe too much inflation, or the moment there is a high level of unemployment, or something affects or distorts the economy, it affects the real estate market.
Yeah.
Hence the crash. But Nigeria real estate is largely driven by cash and not credit.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Do you have something you want to add to that?
Well-
Why there's no crashing in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think it's just a moment of enlightenment for me
Yeah.
because I just got some orientation about how it's been like. In my own opinion, I figured that okay, maybe it's been like there's been like high mortgage rates,
Yeah.
and definitely he has explained a lot of factors why a lot of things have resulted to that. Because the banks are trying to get their mortgage, they will scrutinize people trying to take mortgage, and they would actually increase the rate. And people trying to sell now would have issues selling, so they have to reduce their price
to
to
sell.
sell.
And Nigeria, we don't have that. So, but there's one other like follow-up question on that. Like, I was talking, how much of this is inflation, right? I was talking, so egg is 13 naira 5 years ago. Now it's 100 naira. Egg didn't increase in value. So the same thing happens in real estate, but we sell it as increase in value. But how much of the increase in value do you think is inflation? Do you think value is actually increasing? Or should I start with him with that question?
No, I'll start with him. Let's be
So,
fair.
just to understand your
Yeah.
question clearly, in the sense that
How much of
regardless
the
of
price growth in real estate in Lagos do you think is just inflation and it's not actually value? Do you think inflation has a role to play in why the market never crashed? Because like US now, their economy is stable. So if market wants to crash now, if you put inflation, it might still not crash because price will still increase because inflation happened.
So basically, normally that's a different question on its own. So what we are looking at now is that what people try to do, and that's what people in the real estate market do, is that there's a regulation of pricing
Yeah.
for all different companies. And every company buying real estate, whether you're building or you're buying lands and you're selling, there's always a working capital around it. So you have to always review that. If you are a company and you have your system in place, you have to always review that. And you put it over the property. Then now you tend to say, okay, that's a value.
Yeah.
But we know that that's inflation because obviously the cost of building is increasing every month. And you look at the cost of reinvesting.
Okay.
So when you build a property now and you plan to sell it this amount, when you sell that property at that amount, can you still build the same kind of property next year? So you have to look at it and you increase the price that, oh, this is the value. That's why you have to have a forecast that, okay, I'm building this property with about 50 M now, and it could cost me about 80 M to build it next year. So I could sell it to someone now for about 70 M and tell the person that I could appreciate to about 100 million. Yeah, because you know that the cost of building would definitely
increase, which will increase.
Yeah.
You agree with?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it will also affect. Now, another thing I want to ask is the real estate industry. Do you think there's a bubble where there's real price? I think I'll start with you on that question. There's a real price and there's a real value. Where you know how something that's supposed to be 10 naira, people are now selling 20. Like what happened with Bitcoin?
Yeah.
It happens a lot with almost every market. It happens where an item becomes overpriced, then there will be market correction, things reduce. Do you think there's something like that going on with real estate now in Nigeria?
Currently.
In Lagos particularly, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Before I answer that question, let me just quickly take us down the memory lane. The first ever major bubble we experienced in the real estate sector in Lagos happened in 1998.
Okay.
And it extended for about a decade. Between 1998 and 2008, property owners saw their investments grow about 400 to 500%
Okay.
in value.
400 to 500.
Especially
that's a lot.
Lekki.
Okay.
Year on year, Lekki was steadily seeing about 20-25% growth. Appreciation in value year on year from 1998 to 2008. Why did that happen? It was because of the major infrastructural developments that happened in Lekki in that period.
Okay.
Lekki literally went from 0 to 100 in that period. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it was something everybody wanted to key into one way or the other. So the people with existing properties then saw a very, very massive appreciation. And those who wanted to come in had to even buy at high prices because they knew that the price appreciation was going to keep going up.
Yeah.
Are you with me? So now, let me now define what does a bubble mean? To be honest, it simply means when there is when demand outweighs supply. That's what a bubble means. Then prices start to go up. But in Lekki, I know that as at 2028, things kind of became stable. So people said the bubble busted.
2008.
After 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12. That crazy increase we were seeing, it was no longer there. It stopped.
Okay.
So some people said there was a bubble bust. The bubble had actually busted. Do you understand? Now, what does it mean for a bubble to burst? It's just practically when we had too much demand and less supply. But now, because the people who can supply are actually seeing demand, they are now increasing their supply. So at some point, it matches each other. Then prices start to normalize or to fall.
Okay.
But in the case of Lekki, the land supply did not increase. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But it got to a point whereby the infrastructural development was no longer as how do I put it down? Was no longer as fast or as hot as it was when they started developing Lekki. So it kind of stabilized. So at that point, nobody really wanted to, a man would rather, when you have that kind of money, they tell you to go and buy land in maybe Ejigbo or Egbeda and buy plenty plots and build houses.
Egbeda.
That's what they did then.
Okay.
Do you understand? But now, currently, is there a real estate bubble?
Like let's say what's going on, like areas like Bejuleki, where prices are constantly going up.
So that's what is actually triggering something like a bubble, but it's not a bubble, to be honest. You know what?
There, okay.
So those are infrastructural developments. The same kind of things Lekki experienced then. We have the Dangote refinery, we have the Lekki seaport, we have the Alaro City, we have the Ekpe stuff that has a plan to have like about 4 universities on it.
International airports.
And the 6-lane expressway.
Exactly. So these are infrastructural developments that would actually drive prices up.
Okay.
Are you me?
Yeah.
But the truth is that Lekki is Lekki, Ibejuleki is Ibejuleki, Ekpe is Ekpe. Do you understand? But sometimes when the prices of Ekpe keeps skyrocketing, of course there will be a spillover effect.
Yes.
On Lekki. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It comes that way.
Yeah.
But the truth is, which infrastructural development is happening in Lekki that you are increasing the price because something is going on in Ekpe?
I don't think it really affects like that from my own experience so far.
Yeah.
I don't think the bubble in the Bejuleki Ekpe side really affects the Lekki side. So what's really happening in the Lekki side, is that there are a lot of residential developments. Okay. So that's really the bubble we're experiencing there. Okay. There's a separate bubble there that there's a lot of residential development. So people buying there really want to build. We have a lot of developers now looking to invest there, and people looking to buy for short-let stuff like that. Now, the thing is that people who can afford in that side are going to that other end. Okay. Not because there is an infrastructure in Lekki, that's why they're going to Ekpe, or because there's an infrastructure in Ekpe, that's why they're coming to Lekki. It's just because, I can't afford this place anymore. So let me just go and buy it.
Let me catch the next one.
Yeah, let me catch the next wave before it turns to something like this. Okay. Because basically what we tell them as a real estate advisor is that this is what happened, like you said earlier, this is the same thing that happened a few decades back. So you should take advantage of this and just move to Ekpe and buy investments and land bank and hold it for a very long period of time. And you're sure to get a lot of return on investments in the next few decades when you want to resell or when people start moving, because people keep moving. That's the thing.
So you're saying that area now is going to come up in a way that you're going to see similar effects.
Yeah.
What happened in Lekki will probably
I'm optimistic about that. Yeah.
Because I spoke to some people and they're like concerned, like let's say something like Dangote refinery now. They're like, okay, yes, people will move there. Because I've seen some ads where people are like, this would be the next Banana Island. They go as far as saying it's the next Banana Island. And they're like, the people working in Dangote refinery, most of them, they be able to afford Banana Island if there was a Banana Island there. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes, people will go there, but what are the class of people are we looking at? Will they be able to afford luxury in that area? So that one, that's kind of brings doubt between, will it be, Lekki is kind of luxury now. Lekki will it bring that kind of audience there, or are we going to see something like Yaba? That it's not too luxury, it's just okay.
Yaba isn't cheap.
I was going to say
Yaba is expensive.
You think Yaba is cheap?
Land, yeah, you see
Yaba
80, 90.
It's semi-Lekki.
It's semi-Lekki.
Yeah, it's major.
True.
Right?
So do you think it's still going to be the same thing, or it might not be as big?
So one thing is that, there's a lot of clamoring about that side.
Yeah.
And people get they put a lot of information to people's face, and people buying just for them to buy. sometimes I see people increasing price every day and I'm like, why are you increasing this price? They tell you January is going to be this price.
I was going
and
to
I'm
talk
like,
about this.
I mean, this real estate, but we are actually killing ourselves because I feel like what factor you used to tell me that this land you're selling for 5 million now is going to increase 10 million. That's not enough reason. I know it's going to increase, but that's not enough reason to tell me that it's going to increase.
Sorry to cut you short. You are more informed in the real estate segment than me. I was going to ask you this question, right? So, what's the big idea? What's the rationale behind this stuff? I've seen a lot of people come to my face and say this land was 2.5 million naira per plot 3 months ago, and in the next 2 months we're going to start selling it for 5 million naira per plot. Then I ask you, what drove the price increase? Nothing drove it. It's just the real estate company that increased the price. Because sometimes I ask them, okay, so why was it like? Because 4, 5, 6 months is too short for a major development to happen in any place.
True. 4, 5.
That is going to double the price of a plot of land in 6 months.
Okay.
That's just the real estate company doing what they want.
No. Well, let me not a defense anyway, but basically that's the way it works. So, but the thing is that I'm just saying that normally there could be better explanation, and the reason for that is because of it boils down to demand.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's always this demand of if this estate has like maybe 5 hectares and they want to sell. By the time they are sold to some level, sometimes they stop selling because they want to like add value.
Yeah.
That way they feel like there's more demand. They've created that attraction that these are the infrastructures, and when people are bought to a level, it's just psychological. When you buy this place out, and we feel like you want more. Even the people that are like the Omonile, the main people who actually own this land that we buy from, they see that that's demand. They get to increase their price. So demand affects.
Okay.
If there's no demand, it's just demand. It's not it's demand before infrastructure.
Okay.
It is the moment the infrastructure created the demand. That's where there's more demand for it. So basically, if you see an estate telling you in the next few months it's going to be 10 million, it's because they're going to have few plots left. So the fewer the plots, the higher the price. So it's just the way it is. And it's the way it is even in Ekpe. That's the way it's going to be in years to come. The fewer the plots that are going to be there, the higher the price. That's the way it's going to be. And the same thing you said in the beginning, Ikoyi, fewer lands. If you see a land in Ikoyi now, it's going to be very expensive because it's even scarce to get.
As a matter of fact,
there are lands to sell.
Someone once told me that to get a land or a property in Ikoyi now, it goes beyond just money. In all honesty and sincerity, because if you have the money, the question is now, how do you find someone who is willing to actually sell his land to you?
Okay.
In Ikoyi.
There are lands available for sale. Though.
So if you need land, you can hit him up. There are lands available for sale. So if you are looking Ikoyi, Lekki,
when I
they can help you.
but I think the reason why
I help you get one.
The reason why the person is having that kind of perception is because people there are holding their lands also.
Yeah, exactly. That's
they don't want to sell.
They don't want to sell
because they are like waiting for another massive increase on that same land. Yeah, so they are practicing patience now. The patience they've actually practiced for years, they are not seeing any reason to even offload the land.
Yeah.
So basically, if you see any land in Ikoyi now, you can actually be talking with a buyer, a seller now, that you have someone for their land. And the next few weeks, they are no more interested in selling. It's because they are like, they probably have an urgent problem and they're like, no need, let me wait for the land to actually appreciate it again. So people still want to cash out massive on their investment because maybe that's even what they have. That's what they have left.
Okay.
That's the way it is. Yeah. So you still have to convince them as a realtor, sell this, we have a need for this. That's why you see people going into joint venture. Now, people don't sell that land anymore. They go into joint venture. So they just want to still have a stake in that land. They want to be a shareholder on that land.
Out to you and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. So they don't want to let go of the land.
So that way they still have something while the land giving them. Yeah, so I have one question for you. Can you give, from your experience as an investment banker and also investing yourself, what 3 investments would you recommend? Like, would you say, okay, these 3 things are kind of doing good. If you want to put money there, you can put money in these 3 things. It makes sense.
At this juncture, disclaimer, this is not a financial advice.
Anything you see, it's on you.
Don't say one investment banker came to say but I mean, on a more serious note, you see, when you are, as an investment professional, right? Yeah. I've come to a realization that there's no such thing as a good investment. We have bad investments, but there's no such as a good investment. What we have is an optimal investment.
Okay.
What does that mean? Investment is a game of risk and return. If I'm going to recommend an investment for someone, for a client, I have to understand the kind of portfolio that client is trying to build.
Okay.
By understanding that, I need to know his risk appetite. and know the kind of return he's looking at.
Okay.
That is what is going to drive the kind of what investment I'm going to recommend. So if I say this, if it doesn't suit your investment needs, that's about to be a bad investment.
So you need a lot more consulting,
Exactly.
particularly for that person.
So I'm not going to recommend anything.
So it's not recommended. So, but if you are interested in investing and you need your recommendation tailored to you, you can reach out to him and see how it goes. Then for you, I have a different question. Do you have like 3 properties or 3 locations, real estate wise, that you recommend? Preferably something that you are also involved in, that you say, okay, these are good investments for people to go
So, like you said earlier, so one thing realtors don't do is that they don't actually ask lead qualifying questions, enough qualifying questions to see the most suitable investment for the clients. Like as explained earlier, you need to understand what this person is looking at. If you're looking to invest now, are you in the long game or in the short game?
Okay.
What is your budget range? Now, that helps you tailor, because every investment in real estate is actually a great investment.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't actually get it wrong with real estate. You buy land, you buy a long lease, you actually buy a property to lease out, you flip, or you even rent to do short let.
Yeah.
You would get it right. But the thing is that getting it right is not, it doesn't stop at just buying it or just involving yourself. You have to have the strategy to actually go on. And you have to have the mindset that, okay, this is what I want. Is it long game? If you're going in for long game, I'll advise land banking. And why? It's actually cheaper to actually sustain.
Yes.
You buy the land, you don't really have to do so much over the years for you to flip it. But if you're looking to actually buy, maybe you want passive income, you buy properties that you can, in places where you can actually easily rent out, either for short let or annual lease. But you have to have in mind that you get to sustain that property. There are a lot of costs that will come from your income, from your passive income, that has to go into sustaining the property every year. You have to have that in mind. Or you want to do a same with doing a long lease, or you want to buy property for rent or something.
Yeah.
Or you can go into the real estate investment thing. So basically, like the REIT you talked about, there are a lot of companies that still run it privately. Like we have something also we run privately. But basically, there has to be like projects on ground. Because if people are investing money into your company or into your REIT, it has to be attached to a project.
Yes.
So if we have projects that people don't really need to invest in that project. They just need to invest in
with the company.
With the company.
company develops it.
The project.
Yeah.
And
So
then they get returns.
that
That's
works.
the REIT right there.
So I prefer that one mostly because I feel like that one is like very, very, it's very, very nice and risk-free. Why? You're not taking so much of the risk. The company or whoever is the syndicator of that project is taking all the risk. But you have it in mind, you are binded by agreement that you put this amount of money, you get this return on investment. And you know there's a security tied to it in case that money doesn't come out.
Yeah.
This is what you get. So that one is actually better. But when you don't have the arts for, maybe you buy a property to lease or whatever, you can actually look at alternatives. So many things work. It boils down to whoever you're talking to be able to ask you questions to know what's most suitable for you.
So the way it is now, if you're looking at investing in real estate, you have to be clear on what you want and talk to someone that can ask you the right questions to find out what you want. So we've come to the end of this show. I hope you guys have learned a lot. If you have any questions or comments, you can comment. If you want to contact any of our guests, we'll put a link for you to be able to do that. So do like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week with another great episode. Thank you very much.